Thanks for tuning in to the Disembodied Screams podcast. Those returning, thank you. Those new to this podcast, welcome. Now let's get started with another album by Fulci, another concept album by Fulci. This one was based on Voices from Beyond. So if you go listen to Exhumed Information, watch the movie Voices from Beyond. Before you do, it really does help and adds a lot to that experience of listening to this album. And I found it on YouTube. Whoever put it up on YouTube, thank you. You did a great job making it look great, sound great, and all that jazz. I'll try and put a link in the show notes if I remember where I found it so I can give them some credit for it. Can't rent it anywhere, so best place to go is YouTube. A lot of these old movies are on YouTube. You have to find sometimes. So thank you, YouTube, for that. All right, this isn't my favorite one by Fulci, but it's got some good stuff in it. It's very trippy, dreamy, Nightmare on Elm Street vibe-ish. Filled with lots of just really cool dream sequences and scenes. Lots of sweaty, naked female bodies. A lot of sweaty female naked bodies. Throughout the movie, we get to watch this corpse slowly decompose. I mean, at times it's just covered in all kinds of crap. Spider webs and spiders and maggots and flies and you name it. It just slowly decomposes throughout the movie. It's just beautifully disgusting to watch. It even oozes at one point in time. I mean, just great stuff. And I like how Fulci zooms in to the top of the... It's a tomb that's it's in the ground and it's got the square on top of the ground. I'm not sure what that's called exactly, but he zooms into this big slab above the tomb or above the grave, and then he just goes right into it. So he goes and then right straight into it, and you get to see the corpse inside the coffin. They actually show the coffin, and then they show the corpse inside the coffin. So that's really kind of neat and unique. I love how Fulci directs stuff like that. He does a lot of unique stuff like that. I think a lot of directors these days, especially younger directors, just don't do fun stuff like that. Or don't try fun stuff like that, you know. Maybe it's the studio system that's causing them to be like that. But anyways, I really like the way Fulci directed this one. It's got a great score. Even the dubbing wasn't all that bad. The dubbing actually was pretty solid most of the time. I think a movie like this is very dramatic, more dramatic than horror. I think that seeing it in its original language, I think would make it better because you get more of the actors' feel of what they were going through at the time. Because it's kind of hard to, mimic what the actors are doing in each scene when you're dubbing over their voices. But still, I've seen some bad dubbing in my life, and this is not it. This is some really good dubbing. I was expecting to be a little gorier. It's not as gory. It's not as scary either, but it does keep your attention. I was amazed watching it on YouTube. I thought I might not be able to keep my attention as much, but it keeps your attention really, really well. And that's a kudos to Fulci for doing that as well. I'm kind of surprised that the band Fulci used this one as one of their early concept albums. It's like their second or third one, I think. I'm not sure which number this is. I think it's right before Tropical Sun. And of all the Fulci movies out there, I think there's other ones that would gravitate more towards than this one. But still, killer album. In fact, I think the album is probably better than the movie, from my honest opinion. All right, I'm starting to ramble, so let's move on to the cover. And I give this cover a 6, folks. It doesn't represent the movie. I think Tropical Sun and the other ones seem to represent the movies a little bit better. There are some zombies in this movie, so I guess that's where it's coming from. If you look at this cover, there's a screaming girl about to be attacked by these robed sort of villainous zombie kind of creatures. There's some flames there. There's some blues and some grays and some blacks. And it's a very nightmarish image. You've got tombs in the background. Oh, what else? You got fog. You got the red lettering of Fulci. You got the red letter of Exhumed Information. So it's a very horrific cover. I mean, it's more horrific cover probably than the movie actually is. So yeah, I give this cover a straight up 6. There's even some graves in there, and there's all kinds of stuff. And the girl on the cover looks like she's actually screaming in mortal fear. And I would be too if there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 corpses coming after me. Even in the corner, far right corner, there's a gravestone with a skull coming out at you too. So cover is a straight up 6. If I saw this cover and went and saw the movie, I would expect it to be a little more horror. But anyways, the cover is a 6, and that's my scale. I keep forgetting to mention my scale on these. My scale is 1 to 6. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood at number 1. Freddy's Nightmares is number 6. So in between there, somewhere where a lot of these fall. But this one is a 6. It's Freddy's Nightmares through and through, all day, all night. And the title I gave a 3, Exhumed Information. I mean, exhumed is very horror sounding. Information is not. Put them together, I think you kind of get a 3. If you saw Exhumed Information as the title and didn't know really much about the album or what the album was based upon, I think you would put a little bit of put the hackles up on your back, so to speak. Ooh, that sounds a little creepy. Exhumed Information. So I gave it a 3. And so cover's a 6, title's a 3. Album information goes like this. And again, this is a new band, so it's hard to find a lot of stuff on them. But TimeToKillRecords.com had this to say about it. The new Fulci album, it's not new anymore, there's another one out now, entitled Exhumed Information, continues the paradigmatic, I cannot pronounce some of these words these guys use, Paradigmatic, YouTube, Spotify, you can see it on the screen. If you can pronounce it, drop me a comment on either one of those platforms. It says, continues the paradigmatic experience of the band as a tribute to cult Italian film director Lucio Fulci's filmography. The album is a concept based on the film Voices from Beyond, which I just talked about, from 1991. Once again, Fulci draws inspiration not only from the death metal genre and greats like early Cannibal Corpse, Obituary, and Bolt Thrower. God, I love the name Bolt Thrower. That's just such a good name. But the macabre thrills of 80s horror soundtracks, as well as Fabio Frizzi, John Carpenter, and Goblin. And I tell you what, I hear a lot of Goblin in some of this stuff they do on this album. And in, through the movie I just watched, Fulci's movie, Voice from Beyond, it's got that Goblin-esque sort of score to it. Probably should cover some Goblin at some point in time, just see if they got some albums out there. Because they did some amazing scores for Argento back in the day. It goes on to say, Exhumed Information was recorded at Till Deaf Recording Studios. Mastering was entrusted by Arthur. Cover artwork was designed by Solo Machello. In parentheses, it says Sadist, Elven King, Black Rainbows, in parentheses. So I think that's who this artist has worked with before, those artists. I love the name Black Rainbows. That's got a great ring to it. It says layout and packaging designed by Asia Margo Studios. Not all that important to you, but it's there. It's on the screen if you want to read through it. Pause it and read through it yourself. Let's see. Personnel. I had to Google AI this one, but I'm pretty sure this is right. It says Fulci Band, the core death metal group. That's the title at the top of this. Dom Diego, music, arrangement, guitar, programming. Fiore Stravino, vocals and lyrics. Clem Diglio on bass. Diglio. And TV Crimes is part of this as well. It does the synthesizer work, and it's an anonymous mastermind. We don't know who TV Crimes is, but he or she is on this album. All right, let's get into the track listing. Autopsy, Voices, Nightmare, Evil, Funeral, Tomb, Glass, featuring TV Crimes, Child, Phantasma, and Cemetery. Excuse me a minute. I just recorded another episode and downed some water, but then I'm like, oh man, I'm getting a little dry again. Should have kept my cup right beside me. All right. I looked up Apple Music, and singles were Glass and Tomb. I don't know if those were official singles or just something they put on Apple Music. I'm not sure about that, but saw those two listed. And at this point in the episode, I look up the songs and decide the number I'm going to give the song. So I've given the cover a 6. I've given the title a 3. And perusing through these songs, I gave it a 4. And because a lot of these song titles are pretty horrific sounding. Autopsy, I mean, that sounds a little horrific, being cut open and disemboweled, after you die. That sounds a little horrific. Voices could be, it depends what kind of voices you're hearing. If you got voices in your head, voices in your house, I mean, they can be kind of creepy. Nightmare, of course, that's horror through and through. Evil could be horror through and through. I mean, there's even sort of a cold, horrorish vibe to something called Funeral. Tomb, of course, has got horror to it. Glass, not so much. Child, This is one of those creepy child singing like Nightmare on Elm Street. Phantasma, which means phantom or ghost. Cemetery. So there are some songs here that do evoke some horror dread. So I don't think they're strong enough to push it all the way to the 5 or the 6 towards Freddy's Nightmares. But I do think they're strong enough to be past the midway point, and that's why I gave them a 4. And so this is the point in time where I take all those 3 numbers I threw out in this episode, I add them up, toss them in a brew, mix them around, I pull out the bleeding, rotten skull to find out the number that's sitting on its forehead, tattooed in there, and it's a 4.4. All right, starting to ramble. Let me get off here. Let me drop anchor here and close out this episode. If you like what you hear, don't forget to tap the follow button if you're on the podcast. Subscribe if you're on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, hit that like button. If you're on Spotify, hit the like button. Whatever platform you're on and you're hearing this voice coming across it, just find a way to give this podcast some love. Take care. Thanks for listening. And go listen to Fulci's Exhumed Information today. And let me know in the comments below how awesome this album is, because it is an amazing album from start to finish. Be good.